This list will be looking at the 5 worst missions in Grand Theft Auto 3. I will soon be releasing another video that looks at the 10 best missions, so make sure to watch out for that. Going through GTA 3 for what is probably my 7th time, it became apparent to me how flawed it is. It's aged in a way that I don't think Vice City or San Andreas have. But when looking critically at every mission for the sake of this list, I struggled to find many that I actually hated. There are some average and uninteresting ones, but few that are outright horrible. I had planned for this to be a top 10 worst, but while I was compiling it, I found that I didn't really have strong enough feelings about numbers 10 to 6 for it to be sufficiently interesting. A lot of GTA 3's missions are over in a few minutes, so it's difficult to get all that worked up about them. With that being said, I did manage to find 5 that I think are terrible. So let's get right into it. Number 5. In the mission Bait, Asuka has managed to get information about some death squads that Catalina has sent after Claude. She tasks us with finding the 3 different death squads spread over Shoreside Vale and luring them to a spot where her Yakuza men are waiting to take them out. The question I have is why can't Claude just kill the members of the death squad on his own? He may have the same vocabulary as a baby, but by this point in the game he's shown to be more than capable of taking care of himself. It's not as if Asuka is being cautious with the missions she sent Claude on either. On her orders we've taken on both the Mafia and the FBI. This, by comparison, should be a walk in the park. So apart from not making sense, is it at least enjoyable? Well, no. Not really. Luring people to a spot just for them to be shot by someone else is not a particularly interesting objective, and it's made even worse by several other factors. Drive too fast after alerting the death squads, and they seem to get confused as to where you are, meaning you have to go fairly slow when luring them to the setup. They are also terrible drivers who love ramming into walls. It's not impossible for them to destroy their vehicles doing this, and if they blow up before reaching the spot, you'll fail the mission. If your own car gets destroyed while you're near them and you're forced to abandon it, they will likely exit theirs too, which also fails the mission. On these points it's worth remembering just how fragile cars are in GTA 3. You could hit a leaf and your vehicle would probably flip over or have some black smoke coming out of it. All of this combines to make Bait a stupid, boring and annoying mission. It's also one of the last in the game, which makes it feel even worse. There should be a build-up before the grand finale, but instead what you have is basically a driving mission where a number of things can go wrong if you don't play it very safely and follow a quite rigid script. Number 4. Interestingly enough, Espresso to Go is the mission right after Bait, and it's also given to us by Asuka. It's one of the most infamous in the entire game. We have to go around the whole of Liberty City destroying stalls which are operated by the cartel and are selling spank, an illicit substance that shows up a lot in GTA 3's story. While widely hated for its difficulty, Espresso to Go is made a lot easier if you start by destroying one of the stalls on the first or third island instead of the second, thereby beginning the timer from a more advantageous position and allowing you to move from one side of the map to the other rather than back and forth. So even though I don't think this mission is all that difficult, it still makes the number 4 spot, and that's because driving around the whole map while getting shot at by various gangs is not my idea of fun. Nor do I find slamming into stalls particularly exciting either. You can destroy them in other ways, but these usually take time and you don't have too much of that. Also, the fact that you have to find the stalls rather than just having them appear on the minimap straight away seems needlessly tedious. I don't have a lot to say about Espresso to Go because it's a fairly repetitive experience. I think long-winded is the best way to describe it, but to be fair, that's a description that could apply to every entry on this list. Number 3. While I dislike numbers 4 and 5 on this countdown, it's when we get to the top 3 that I really feel a strong hatred, and that starts with Rig to Blow. After someone has rigged his car with explosives, D-Ice gives us the task of getting it defused. How do we do that? Well, we have to drive from Shoreside Vale all the way to Portland to reach a specific garage that can carry this out. There are plenty of missions in GTA 3 where you have to make drawn out journeys from one island to another, but Rig to Blow is probably the worst of the lot. You travel from the third island to the first and then back to the third again. As if that wasn't bad enough, the first half of this mission is not only timed, but the car you're in is also hypersensitive. So if a few too many of Liberty City's finest drivers pull out in front of you, you could soon be setting off that explosive and joining Mike Forelli. Then on the journey back from the garage, you're not allowed to damage the car even a little. If you do, you have to get it repaired at a pay and spray. Do you see what I mean by long-winded? The only positive I can think of about Rig to Blow is that when you're in Portland, the Mafia doesn't use their dreaded shotguns, which is one of the few times in GTA 3 when Rockstar decide to show a bit of mercy. Apart from that, this mission is almost completely without merit. Number 2. It really feels like the top 3 on my list actively tries to bore you. When it comes to escort service, I think you could have more fun hitting yourself on the head with a hardcover dictionary. Given to you by Donald Love, you have to drive alongside and protect an incredibly slow vehicle driving from Staunton Island to Shoreside Vale. The cartel attack it as it's driving, and you've got to take them out before they destroy it. While fairly easy to combat for the most part, there are a few cartel cars and members that come at the very end that cause a lot of hassle. This means that 5 minutes into this mind-numbingly dull mission, just as the vehicle carrying Love's package is about to reach its destination, you can fail and have to do the whole bloody thing all over again. The enemies also don't show up on the minimap, meaning they've probably already got quite a few hits in before you even know they are there. It's terribly designed, and when it's not dull, it's driving you ballistic. The annoying thing is that I think the concept is actually pretty good, but in execution, it falls short in every way. Thankfully, there is a much better mission with a similar idea in San Andreas called Outrider. I spent every minute of escort service wishing I was playing that instead. Number 1. Gang Car Roundup sees you having to steal rival gang cars and then store them in a garage for the yardies. It is, quite simply, a steaming pile of dithering dog shit. Of the trio of cars you have to steal here, 2 are on the first island, while the garage you have to store them in is on the second. This means that you have to go over the Callahan Bridge connecting them 4 times, which also means that you have to sit through 4 loading screens. It is incredibly dull. And Rockstar's generosity with not having Mafia members spray you with shotgun bullets in Rig to Blow is not extended to Gang Car Roundup. Here, as soon as they see you, they'll unleash hell. Considering the cars you steal are not supposed to be damaged in the slightest, their attacks can mean a trip to the pay and spray, assuming of course that they don't blow your car up entirely. There's also the RNG in waiting for these cars to spawn in the first place. Nothing is quite as fun as going into hostile gang territory and searching for specific vehicles while being riddled with ammunition. As if to add insult to injury, the garage you have to take the cars to is also in a quite tight area, meaning you've got to slow right down and drive very carefully just so you don't damage them and have to get them repaired again. It genuinely feels like they designed this mission to be as unenjoyable as possible. Even with the terrible missions on this list, merits can be found. Espresso to Go has quite unique objectives. Escort Service, as mentioned, has a decent concept. Gang Car Roundup has neither of those things. There is a similar mission titled Grand Theft Auto that manages to do almost everything here better, though it's also still pretty crap. And as for the concept, well, Gang Car Roundup isn't even good in theory. This is my choice for the worst mission in GTA 3, and yet somehow that still feels too generous. A lot of the weaker missions in this game are fairly uneventful, and even a lot of the better ones aren't very complex. Rockstar still weren't fully there yet with making constantly compelling objectives, but they would learn as they gained experience. That being said, I often found there to be not that much to say about the really bad missions in this game. Them being boring is the main thing that stands out, but there's only so many times you can say that before you yourself get boring too. But still, I hope you enjoyed the video. While recording, it was very windy outside, which seems to suggest that, sadly, either God or nature isn't a Realm of Gaming fan. I hope you, however, are, and I hope you'll consider subscribing. As mentioned at the start, a top 10 best missions in GTA 3 will be coming soon.